Baltimore, Cincinnati.
Blowout.
Turned into a blowout. Looked good with the Ben Jarvis Green Ellis touchdown at the end of the first half. You thought maybe this is going to be a normal, AFC North division. I thought I originally, went into the game expecting, an AFC North battle. Defensive, not too many points scored, a really good game. And pretty much Baltimore put the pedal to the metal. And even when they were up 3 scores, they still were out there with Flacco and their starters throwing the ball around and trying to make more plays. And it wasn't until beginning of the fourth that they finally put their backups in and let their starters relax. I mean, but I don't know about you. I thought Baltimore looked amazing, and I thought Cincinnati looked like they had some holes.
Baltimore looked like the best team in the AFC.
They did. There's no question about it.
Baltimore looks like they got a lot of question marks.
Shout out to Alyssa in our chat room who heard about our show and giving it a listen. We're very happy to have you in here. Alyssa, if you have any opinions or want to voice your opinion on anything sports related, please feel free to. We'd be more than happy to talk with you about it. Now, my opinion, one thing I did see last night is that Cincinnati's offensive line, now this could be credited to Baltimore. Let's be honest, Baltimore is Baltimore. But Cincinnati's offensive line has some work to do. Andy Dalton was not getting the kind of time that he would like to have, that Marvin Lewis would like to see. And on top of that, they really don't have much to work with other than their tight end Gresham and A.J. Green. I mean, you're sort of limited offensively
really all
in
the
Cincinnati.
They have. Yeah, you're right. And one thing I will say in Cincinnati's defense is, not many teams this year are going to be able to stop the Ravens' defense. So, as far as their offensive line holding up, there aren't going to be a lot of offensive lines out there that are, going to hold Baltimore, back from doing what they want to do.
Yeah, let's be serious. Haloti Ngata alone deserves 2 blockers every single play.
Ngata, Ray Lewis had, 14 or 15 tackles last night?
He was everywhere.
Yeah. So I don't think Cincinnati's going to be a bad team. I just think that, and especially with the passing of Art Modell, I think it just, all the players, it was a big night for him, trying to honor him. So I think they came out, they wanted to put the pedal to the metal.
Ray Lewis looked close to tears in the pregame. He had the little AM written under his eyes on each one of those little marks that they put there.
Eye black.
Now, when I looked at this game, I think the one thing everybody is talking about right now is the performance of Flacco. Now, Joe Flacco is actually a guy that I had a lot of faith in. I waited in my fantasy football draft to take him as my starting quarterback. I was able to get him in the 14th round because most people don't look at Joe Flacco as a guy that's going to really rack up fantasy points.
Well, because you look at it, and a lot of people figure a lot of the offense goes through Ray Rice there, so they don't have a lot of faith in Flacco's passing game. Plus, in years past, let's face it, he hasn't been an all-star,
anything amazing.
He hasn't been outstanding.
He did outduel Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, though. If you look at the stats from that game, but they didn't lose because of him. Let's be serious here. It ain't his fault Lee Evans dropped the ball. He put that exactly where it needed to be. And it for damn sure ain't his fault that Cundiff, I think it is, shanked the field goal from 27 yards away. I'm sorry, Joe Flacco. Stats-wise,
I'm not blaming the game on Flacco, but I'm just saying that they didn't win.
Which is what quarterbacks are judged by. That I can't argue with. I will say, though, man, when you look at that game, he outdueled Brady in stats-wise. His defense played pretty well. That was a game Baltimore should have won. Lee Evans with the drop late in the game. You got to give credit to the cornerback on New England sticking with the play and, trying to and knocking the ball away. But and then the field goal shank, which would have sent the game to overtime, and then you never know what would have happened from there. It's just bad. That sucks for them. But, he goes 21 of 29, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got sacked 3 times, which I didn't even know that. He had two carries for -1 yards if you're going to find a fault on his day.
That was the one thing that did surprise me about Baltimore's offense last night. Is Ray Rice only had, 68 yards rushing?
Ray Rice only had 10 carries for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He did have the 2 touchdowns, which is good, don't get me wrong, but the 10 carries for 68 yards, you'd like to see the ball in his hands a little more. Now, I understand late in the game they took him out, brought in some backups, but
I know what you're saying,
still,
though, because you'd
10
rather see him
carries
with
for
like 15 to 20 touches at least.
Exactly. You want to see him at least 15 touches through 3 quarters. Anyway.
And even if you include his receptions, that he only had 3, so that's 13 touches in a game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 25 yards receiving. You have the 68 yards rushing. You have the 2 touchdowns. It's not like his mark isn't on the game, but, you know, when it comes down to, you know, our perception of what he should have done is where the issue is. But, I mean, he had his impact. He made his mark, but...
Oh, yeah, he did it in only 10 carries. Yeah, I mean, he averaged, 6.8 a carry?
Yeah, which is, I mean, let's be serious. Any guy would love to have that out of their running back.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not knocking what he did carry-wise. I'm just saying maybe play call-wise, are they going to become a pass-happy offense?
Well, a lot of people believed after what they saw from them in the preseason that they were going to lean heavier towards passing the ball than running the ball. And not to mention, you know, the one thing you know about running backs is their shelf life is short. So if you're going to have a all-star running back that is as talented as a Ray Rice, you want to have that guy as long as you can. So if he can make his mark on a game, especially when it's a blowout, and you can get him out of there without putting too much of a beating on his body, I mean, let's be honest, a fresh, healthy Ray Rice in Week 17 in what could be a must-win game to take the division or get a wild card spot, whatever it might be, is much better than a Ray Rice that's already got 250, 280 touches on him and, you know, almost 400 or 500 hits on his body. You know, I mean, if you look at it like that, it's actually a better thing for Baltimore to have be able to have only had him touch the ball 13 times and blow him out. It's better for them as a team in the long run. Now, as a fantasy owner, you might say, well, I really would prefer him to have the ball another 10 times. But I think the way Baltimore was able to pull away, I think they did everything the right way for the most part. I didn't like them throwing the ball around when they're up 3 touchdowns and there's no need to. I thought that was stupid. Flacco takes an unnecessary sack late in the game. Like, what if he broke his ankle on that play? You know what I mean? Like,
can't play what if, so.
I know, but you can also sit there and play smart and say to yourself, we're not blowing this game. We can start putting in our young guys. And to me, it's another chance to evaluate your talent, see what you got. This is the first week you can go sign veterans without having to guarantee them their money. It to me is a chance for you to, if you're up that much, it's a chance for you to analyze what you have on the bottom half of that 53-man roster that you put together.
They spent the last 4 weeks through preseason and training camp before that and mini camps before that. If you don't know what your team has by now, I mean, if you don't know the holes, you're not going to figure it out.
Fair enough.
Now I understand evaluating talent still, and maybe there's a couple guys on your roster, maybe the 3 and 4 wide receivers you want to, you know, maybe there's some type of battle going on there, but I don't necessarily see it as a big evaluator of talent, getting him in there in the fourth quarter of a blowout in week 1.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're saying. My real perspective on that is Cincinnati kept their starters out there. So to me, I'm just saying you have a chance to see what some of your backup guys can do against starters that are pissed off pretty much because their team's getting dominated. What I will say, though, is that one way or another, Baltimore, to me, looked like, as you said before, looked like the best team in the AFC. I still think Cincinnati can win, 8 to 10 games based on, how things unfold for them and, so on and so forth. But I don't think Cincinnati is a bad team. I think they're still going to be competitive. But from what you've seen from the Monday night game and the Sunday night game with Pittsburgh playing Denver, I think Baltimore definitely right now has established themselves as the class of their division.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got to say right now that they're your favorite to take that division. I know it's only 1 week. Let's be serious here. So much can change. But from 1 week, that's what I'm thinking.